Welcome to Not Just for Laughs on Radio Free Brooklyn. Once again, it's Ellie Raskin, your host, here with co-host Max Hollander. Max, why don't you say hi?
Hi.
And today we are joined by a really smart, really awesome guest, Vernon Payne. Vernon, why don't you say hi?
Yo, what's going on, people?
And as you know, we're hosted by Radio Free Brooklyn. Grateful to be here. So Vernon has been doing comedy in New York City and Albany for a long time. He's from Albany. He's performed two man shows. Are they two one-man shows?
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn, but I started out in Albany, New York.
Wait, so it's two one-man shows?
Yeah, one-man shows.
Okay, because it was written down as two-man shows. I'm like, isn't that just a show?
Just one guy here.
Yeah.
Two guys.
That's just called two people talking to each other. Just you on the subway talking to the person next to you, emailing Time Out magazine like, I have a two-man show. He's also written comic strips, which is a first for a guest on this show, at least what they've told us.
Really great for an audio medium.
Right?
Very exciting.
And in this one, Calvin is holding his pet tiger. Hey, this is copyrighted material. He talks about Brooklyn, growing up in Brooklyn, sex, race, other stuff. You can see him performing at open mics around the city. Most importantly, follow him on social media at cool_ass_Vern,
That's
spelled
right.
VRN. And he has a YouTube.
Baby.
And we're going to play some of your comedy in a little bit so people get to know you.
Yeah.
But as an intro, what's something about yourself that you think maybe shows people what you're about, or some interesting fact that people may not know?
Well, one thing people don't know, and you won't get it from me. Well, I guess you won't see it when you look at me, is back in the day, I used to be a singer of a metal band back in the day.
What?
Yeah, bro. This light voice dude right here.
What was the name of the band?
Overthrown.
It's metal.
Yeah, I used to be. Yeah.
Was it like
That's a metal name.
was it like screamo metal, like?
That's exactly what it was. I used to do like the highs and the lows, like like crazy, man.
Face paint?
I used to. No,
Are we talking any of that?
Nah, I never did. Nah, this is real shit right here. None of that.
Oh my-
like high
Did
school
you write
shit.
your own songs or was cover?
No, it's all songs, man. I think you did one cover, but for the most part, it was everything else all our own shit, man.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Did you guys have a dramatic breakup, or was it?
What happened? I don't.
Your teenage angst left, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not mad at things
No.
anymore."
I'm still mad at things. So. No, what happened? I think no one had confidence in the band besides me and another person, and one dude was whipped. So he had a girlfriend. He was like kind of whipped, and we were. I ran into a buddy of mine online, and he was in the band in Florida, and they were signed. So like we got talking.
Wait, so one of the members of the band is signed right now?
No, like one. No, just like a guy that I grew up with.
Okay.
He was in the band in Florida, and he got signed. So when I got in contact with him, I guess he was talking to his label about us, whatever. And they were talking to my bass player, so they were kind of checking us out. But then like we fucking broke up, and I'm just like we were like this close. To, like even if they're not gonna pay for everything, at least you get something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'd be cool to be on a label, but the shit didn't happen because
Dude, that's one thing going for stand-up is that like the joke is like if you're in a band or if you're in an improv group, like half the time is spent just on a Slack like chain trying to plan the meetup, and stand-up is like, yep, I have an hour. I'm gonna go to an open mic.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was probably one of the. It was not probably. It really is one of the best times of my life. I would, if I could still sing, or if I could still scream, I would go back and do that shit in a heartbeat.
So you sing and do you play an instrument as well?
Nah, just sang.
Do you still sing regularly, like regular music?
Nope.
Sing.
I mean,
And I.
Oh, my singing voice is fucking horrible, man. you would rather hear cats fuck than
Well, if you go to like
sing.
Spotify's like hot pop music, I don't think anyone there has a good voice. It's all just like, and I was at a party and I lost my money to drugs.
Nah, man. Yeah, it was a great time.
You
though.
can't scream anymore?
I can't scream anymore.
Physically can't?
I
or you're
can't.
not allowed anymore?
We're not
No,
going
no blacks can scream anymore. We're done.
They've taken it away.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I try sometimes, but my voice is shot, man.
It's from the screaming before, or?
I think I feel like I mean I'm not sure if this is true or not. I'm kind of dumb, but I feel like my voice is like calloused over where like
Yeah.
it can't get that like
Hey.
that high that low anymore.
I think being kind of dumb is what makes a good comedian. I'm being 100% serious. Being a little bit dumb, but being smart, but a little bit dumb is where comedy is. Like you're a little dumb, you're a little like, what? And in that what moment is when you write your joke.
See,
Anyway, all right, Ellie, whatever you say to let yourself sleep at night.
you know what? He's right because
Back to actual
I
comedy
am
talk.
I am not book smart at all, but I'm street smart and I understand the world in a
Thank
way
you.
like kind of like George Carlin.
Basically, what I'm saying is
I'm not
Jerry
sure if that's
Seinfeld.
just
No, what I'm
being
saying
dumb,
is
though.
Jerry Seinfeld and his like smartness can go fuck himself.
it's like Dimitri Martin is like a lawyer, but I
Yeah.
don't find him like hilariously fucking funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but someone who's like doesn't know how to spell together is a real fucking
Thank
funny
you.
comment.
I like you because you agree with me. Max, you can go join Jerry Seinfeld. All right.
I will gladly go join Jerry Seinfeld and Dimitri
With
Martin.
his oodles of cash.
Yes.
I'm not the only one that like used spell check to fucking find out how
all
a
the
word
time.
is.
Or like if I'm
yeah.
writing a joke, I'll do like Shift F7, go to like the thesaurus,
Yeah.
be like, what's a funnier way to say
Yeah.
this? All right.
I feel
enough.
like you could- I
now
feel-
we got to listen to his stand up. Wait, what were you going to say?
Nah, I'm just saying. I feel like that could go too far. Just like get up in an open mic. Isn't it funny how like 2 + 2? Who knows it? Nobody knows it. You're a little too dumb, I think, for stand up.
All right. Here we go. Here's Vernon performing at the New York Comedy Club. It's a little quiet.
Give it up for Nick, guys. Give it up for Nick. Keep it going. Awesome. You guys are awesome as fucking fun. I like this, man. We've been talking about a lot of things today. We've been talking about outrage. One thing, a part of outrage is thing we call privilege. Everyone's like talking about right now. And I get that, I understand it, but can we admit that we all have privilege, right? No matter who you are. Like I think second best privilege is rappers, right? Because rappers get to say whatever the fuck they want. Like if the Migos said what Trump said, it'll be the hottest fucking song on the radio. You know what I'm saying? When you a star, they let you grab your pussy, skirt. It'll be fucking what's that song, son? Access Hollywood, my nigga. Access Hollywood. That's what it's called, you know. That's what it is. Like I think, like the second best is what I like to call pretty privilege, right? Because we like all want to be around pretty people for some reason, you know. And why? No, I said why. Ever at a party and the pretty girl has that like dumbass birthday crown on, right? And she's like, it's my birthday, it's my birthday. I was like, yeah, pop her a shot. Now you know if that was the other girl, she was like, it's my birthday too. You'd be like, bitch, get the fuck away from me. Everyone got birthdays, you know. Security, come get this bitch right now. But at the same time, right, ugly girls have privilege over pretty girls, right? Because ugly girls don't get kidnapped. It just doesn't fucking happen. It just doesn't. You know? Oh shit, my bad. Keep going. I'm Talk about life, talk about sex today.
All right, we're back. I'm not sure if you heard that that wonderful laugher in the audience.
It was fun fact. Chewbacca was there at the stand-up open mic.
It was that I remember like when I listened to it back because like I'm like, oh, his set was really good. I can
Yeah.
like use it, whatever. And then like I started listening to it, I'm like, you what was that? Who laughed? Like, are you having an orgasm to the joke? Instead of like,
I thought I was at work listening to this, and I looked both ways, and I was like, "Am I wearing headphones? Because this sounds like porn." Not that I know. I'm just saying, if I knew what porn sounded like, that's what it would sound like.
I was like, this woman just like, it's awesome that she's laughing, but she just like ruined the whole goddamn.
Yeah, and I like how she kind of morphed, like she grew as she aged in this set. Like at first she was like, ah! And then went, and then.
I would really hate to hear her orgasm. It would just be laughing the whole fucking. I'd be laughing the whole time.
You'd be like, all right, you come on set. You come on stage. You're doing a 5-minute set of just you laughing.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Oh god, it was.
Yeah, I really like that point, and I think that's something that is a little bit underserved. At the open mics, I was just telling Max this, and But I think at a lot of open mics, if you just don't bring up pornography, in like aggressive sex or your dick, you're already in like the 1%. Like you're in the 1% of comedians who are actually saying. And then on top of that, if you are actually making a point, you're in that 1% of that 1%. And we discussed this a little bit, but I think that's something important to be said. Like and that's a point everyone says, because I think we can go down this rabbit hole, but I think what always happens is something happens on the right and the liberal left goes, that's terrible. And then the right just fires back. Yeah, well, your side does it.
Yeah.
And like, you're not casting a judgment. You're just saying that in a different way. And it's so funny. Like, imagine if a rapper said all that. It would be like, yeah, that's right. Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, you're right. I was listening to Rick Ross, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rick Ross in one of his songs is called "You Know," right? So he said, "I slipped something in her drink. She didn't know." But I'm listening to the song. I'm like, it's just fucking dope. And I'm like, this motherfucker's talking about like here's some Bill Cosby shit.
Yeah.
And we're like at the club dancing to
and
shit.
He's number one on iTunes.
That's one thing is like, no one cares about feminism unless it has a beat to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if it has a beat to it, no one gives a fuck about it.
Yeah. I don't listen to lyrics, and I'll send a friend a song and they're like, you totally disagree with the message of this song. I'm like, oh, wait, what are the words? And I go back and Google it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. But I'm still listening.
Yeah. It was like, it's another rapper. I forgot his name, but he's with A$AP Rocky or whatever. And he's like,
I'm just going to go, to pretend that I know rappers.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, I know rappage music.
What he said, he said,
the old ASAP.
He said,
the old $$sign app.
I'm with a bitch. I got no fucking condom. If she finds out I'm in trouble, some shit like that, whatever. Yeah. This is like the widest version I can come up with this song, but like, but I was listening to him, I'm like, this motherfucker is like, he's talking about raping this girl. Like, it's like pretty much not saying, hey, I took my condom off or whatever the fuck. It's just like, I don't got it. So, it is what it is. I'm just like, damn. But like, we're like, all right, this shit is dope, man. Like, play shit in the club. And I'm like, it's fucked up. Because, like I said, like everyone's against Trump, and I get it, but there's no like equal of opinion on both sides. It's just like, well, I don't like him for this reason, but at the same time, if he says something with a hot beat to it, you'd be like, this nigga Trump is dope, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's just someone remixed his speeches, like build that, what,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm saying, I was just saying the same thing. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So like, the best thing about comedy is like, you can take something that's so dumb and make it be like, oh, right, this is how you make a point of something that like,
but that point, like. But the thing is, that's the only thing I'd say about dumb is like, that wasn't a dumb point. Like, that's a smart point.
Well, I'm talking about Trump, like that him saying that thing is so dumb. You can take that and put it in a perspective. You know what I mean?
Although it's interesting though, that in comedy it's also different. They have different standards in comedy as well. Like, you can't make a joke about that. Like, you can't make a joke about raping someone like that or slipping anything in a drink. Then you get in trouble. I
think that I don't know, because I listening to your stand up, it got me thinking. So I'm definitely doing processing while talking. But I think I once heard it's not that you can't make jokes about certain topics. It's just that you have to make smarter jokes.
Yeah,
and
of
I think that is a smart joke, because you never once say I don't like Trump, or you never say I like Trump. All you're just making a point, which is a true point. Mm-hmm. And I like when I heard that, like, I've gone to open mics where people said not similar ideas, but something along those lines, and you cringe and you're like, ooh. But like, that was like, oh, haha, that's a good point. And it's almost as if the comedy comes first and the joke is like slipped in, it's like drinking like juice with like your medicine,
Yeah, I feel it, yeah. I think for me, that's the way, like, even when I sucked at doing comedy, like, that's the way I always want. That's the way I did it. Is just like, I want to give you kind of the information first, and slip the joke in where you're not even thinking about it, but still finish with the information, because you're not even thinking about it. And you're like, oh shit, this shit is like, dude, like I don't remember the joke now, but like when I first started, I was talking about Republicans who were anti-abortion, anti-this, whatever, right? So there's a Republican. So my old joke was like, I went through different Republicans who did fucked up things, right? So there's one.
You're on stage for like 45
yeah,
minutes.
Right. Listen to the whole goddamn thing. Well, this guy here, where like the Republican, he got arrested for soliciting sex from a 6-year-old girl, right?
God. And he was like a senator or something.
Yeah, he was like one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's funny anymore, but I was saying it like, you know, because 6-year-old girls, you know, they're fucking sluts, you know what I mean? So like, people are just like, they're not like, they laugh. I don't even know why they laugh at it, but to me, like that's funny because like, you know, you got this guy doing some shit.
You're using comedy to say like what you did was fucked up.
It was fucked up, you know what I mean? And kind of putting it towards the light, and people are like, oh shit, you know, right? But like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just like trying to make this point of like how dumb this guy is for saying this.
Well, there's
that is that the process? You think of a point that you want to make, and then you put a joke around it, or you find something funny and you sort of like develop like hash out a point.
I think I feel like I do the point. It's the point first.
How do you choose your points?
I just look at the world and see how silly things are. Like so, like for instance, I haven't worked on this yet, but I've been thinking about it. Is everyone hates Trump, right? There's just a thing that like everyone hates Trump, right? And no one can find any balance of like how much of a decent person he is, which he's not. But if you can look at it, so for me, and my point is that Trump said, "Let's make America great again." Right. And I think he is doing that. And you're like, what the fuck do you mean he's doing that? Right.
Okay.
Now, since he took office and won the whole thing and doing whatever, there have been more gay people and trying to like fight who are actually getting elected. Right.
Yeah.
There's more people of color who are getting elected and rising up, right? And at this moment now, we can fuck robots. To me, this motherfucker has made America great again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, you know, he put this in play before when Obama was there. Everyone was just like, all right, whatever, man. He got it. You know, like pretty much Obama was Michael Jordan. It's like I'm not getting worried about, you know,
he's got us. He's our guardian angel.
Right? And then you give it to this guy, and he's like, he's fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And everything is fucked up. But if you could find a silver lining, it's like we, you know, fuck robots. We're kind of starting during Obama, but no one was like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck robots. But now we're like him, I'm gonna fuck some robots. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Like it's one of those things where if you can find something so small to make, you know, fun of the whole goddamn thing, or find a silver lining, because there's no point of saying the same thing everyone agrees with. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta find something that like everyone can agree with. That's completely out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? For me, you know.
Is there? I think we've talked about this before. I'm curious. Do you find the comedians that you listen to often? Are you listening for a point? Like, do you think things are better? Like, do you think a comedian's better when he hashes out a point?
The type of comedy that I like and always have liked was like that. So like for me, you know, my favorite comedians were like George Carlin, Louis Black, you know, Patrice or whatever. And
Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah, and those guys had points. You know what I mean? No matter how brutal, you know, the idea of the joke was, or the point was, there was a point to the whole goddamn thing. We're like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, even if like, I'm kind of toting the line of liking Nick DiPaolo now, but if you actually listen to Nick DiPaolo, things that I don't agree with, I'm like, that motherfucker is funny. You know what I mean? Like, because funny is funny no matter if you agree with it or not. You know, and a lot of things he does or says sometimes is kind of funny. You know what I mean? So you gotta kind of find that line of like, you know, what point are you making, and can your point be like so funny where it just stops me from having my like my anti-opinion.
And that's the interesting, that's like the art and the science of comedy, because everything has like the science which you learn, and there's the art which you just have, and there's and that's where that also ties into voice, because there's certain things that if I got up and said, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with the way I talk. It wouldn't work with the person I am. It would come across as phony. And
like if you tried to sound smart on stage.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I get up,
so
I say
was
the word
perturbed the other day.
Yeah. So I was eating a chicken sandwich out of a garbage can. You know? See?
Yeah.
It's and funny. Then one woman's like, in the audience.
For me, it's always like that, trying to figure out a point. It's like, you know, like something else I haven't figured out yet. It's just like, I can't wait till Trump is out of office. Yeah. And it was like, yeah, hurrah, hurrah, I'm with you. And I'm like, not for the reason that you think of, is so we can finally tell white women to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? because it's something that people want to say, but they can't say it now because it's so like it is so dominant right now that like every white dude is getting like just dragged in the fucking mud. Yeah. But for me, it's like you're the same. You know, the privileges are the same. Like you can't do 15%. Exactly. You can do 15% less.
It's almost as if it's almost as if you open with a statement that's so outlandish that everyone drops their guard and gets almost a little bit mad. And then when you say your normal statement, by comparison to the premise you opened with, you sound the most open-minded. You know what I mean? Like if you got up and said yeah, like both sides talk the same way. People would be like, no, you can't say that because Trump is in charge and we're the underdog and we got to defend the underdogs. But if you're like how you did it, then you went so far the other direction that it's all.
Well, I mean, there are a number of factors involved. First of all, it depends on who's saying it. And secondly, where, like, what context. Like, if a small open micer who, I'm not sure, let's say he's making a racist joke and he's a white guy or the other way around and just some random open mic, then I won't really be listening to part 2. I'll only really hear part 1.
Right.
Versus some huge comedian getting up there making a racist joke or something like, let's say Bill Burr. Like if he getting up there, it's gonna be very different because I know who he is, I know what he's about, I know what he does. So
we've spoken about this before about how with comedians at an open mic you're given a little bit less leeway because no one knows you. Yeah. So if you get up, if you open, I went to an open mic this week and this guy got up, it was first time doing it, and he was an idiot. He tried to do like really edgy material right off the bat. But he was so nervous, he never said the punchlines. So he fucked up his punchlines. So he only did his setups, which were super racist, super sexist.
I hate black people.
Yeah, and then he would like, right, and then he would be like,
next joke.
He's like, oh, no, that joke was stupid. And we're sitting there. I'm like, I look around, everyone's got their arms and legs crossed in like cringiness. Yeah. So, but like you said, Bill Burr, if he gets up, you're like, I know he's going somewhere with this. So, and that's, like, I think that's plays a lot more than we think.
That's what, I mean, it took me, like, I've been, doing comedy on and off for about 10 years later on this year. Right. So like, it took me pretty much all that time to like figure out kind of a voice, but learn how to have an opinion. You know what I mean? Learn how to have an opinion and figure out how to make it funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me now, it's so tough. Like there's jokes that like I did 7 years ago that today I can't get. I don't know how to make it better, and I'm just it bothers me.
Like they never worked before, or they don't work now.
They work now, but like so like I have a joke. All right, cool, this works. But then what can I like add on to it? What can I tag it with? What can I add to it? I'm just like sitting there like I've had a joke for a very long time. Where like do you want
to tell it? We'll workshop it together.
Sure. All right. So this is absolute true story, right?
Okay.
First time
he just winked at us. Just kidding.
The first time that I lost my virginity, right?
Okay.
So
the first time.
Yeah, the first time. Every time I'm like, the first time.
That was so great. I'll do it a second
time. Oh, great.
So when I lost my virginity, I was with this girl, one of my friends, and we watched 2 movies, right?
Okay.
First movie we watched was Scarface, right?
Okay.
And she was like touching me, and I was like, "Get the fuck off me! I want to watch Scarface." Like, it wasn't even like registering to me that she wants to fuck, right? So the second movie we watched was Full Metal Jacket. The whole entire 3-hour movie, we watched that movie, and then I got it. Oh yeah, okay, she wants to do it, right? So we get back to the room, do whatever, and I'm trying to have sex. I didn't know what I was doing, so this is literally what I thought that I thought that once I put my penis down there, that it'll go in, right? Now,
oh no, yep.
And to me, in my mind, I'm thinking that like it's kind of like Star Wars and like the Millennium Falcon, where it gets sucked in by the Death Star, right? that's literally what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm thinking like she's like, oh my god, it's here, and it's like come sucks it in, right? That's what I thought. That's it. I have to that joke that I've been telling for almost 7 years. I have no ending to it, and it's bugging me out that like I'm like trying to equate the two to something else.
What if you say something like, I thought, hear me out, I'm not, it's not going to be funny when I say it, but like I thought I would just take it out and we would be drawn together. Little did I know it was a magnet, but it was the reverse sides and she kicked me out. Or like something like that. That's something I would say, but
Yeah.
it's a little. It might not fit what you used to do. But that's what I would say. What would you say, Max?
I'm thinking.
I've been trying to work
Yeah.
that out for years. It's like, cause like the story is real and the idea is funny, but how do you
So then
bring it home?
You should be like,
Okay.
you should be like, I mean, like just like add on, just like to the Millennium Falcon part. Like I was like waiting for the control center, just like, all right, come in for a landing and
Yeah.
retractor beams.
Well,
Yeah.
which part of the joke do you like the most? The Millennium Falcon
So,
reference?
in the joke I said, like I thought the vagina like had a tractor beam or whatever, and people were like,
Right.
oh, we should tractor beam put in that. And so for me, it's just the whole story is funny. And like I thought it was like this scene in this one movie when I explained that.
So then
To
what
me,
if
that's
you
funny.
lie and say, because all comedians lie, what if you lie and say the movie you watched was Star Wars? Because right now,
I mean Star Wars, yeah,
the beginning of the joke, so in the beginning, I didn't hear that.
Star Wars, yeah, it's just like it's
What was
Star
the
Wars.
second movie you watched?
I don't think that'll make a difference.
No.
I think it will, though. Because then you're already in the Star Wars frame of mind.
I tried doing like a movie reference and it didn't work again.
No, the movie reference like comes like I think that.
That's what she said.
All right, there you go. But but I think the Millennium Falcon thing is pretty good. But I think it's that the Millennium Falcon thing is more of a closing to that because like it's more accurate. Like they pile it in. Like it didn't just like beam me. I thought it was like beam me up, Scotty, and then like beam me up. All right, I'm not
Control guy. Yeah.
But
Max is
it's-
definitely the
it's-
better writer than me,
yeah.
so you should listen to what he says.
I suck at writing. I don't know how to write. So like,
But like, okay, this is a pet peeve of mine because I waste my time listening to YouTube like late night interviews. I waste my time listening to podcasts, and the one recurring line is you have these comedians who are genius, and they have something on their shoulder where they go, "I've never." The Beatles. I just read an interview. They never learned how to write music. I just read an interview with Paul McCartney, and these people. A lot of people have chips on their shoulders because they look down on themselves because you go to an open mic and you have all these guys who are trying to like show who has a bigger dick, and the way you do it is by saying like, oh yeah, like I took this class, or like I know this, or like, oh, you're putting on a tag because they want to feel like they're part of a special community.
Yeah.
When in reality, all we're doing is making people laugh. We're continuing what we did in high school to get along with friends or to make your friends laugh. We're just doing it for a bigger audience, and I think that's something that like people need to get the fuck over because the best of us are the people who have no idea what they're doing. And I wasted years trying to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I pushed off stand-up for years. I was like, I need to take a class. I need to take a class. And then I just did it. And is it good? No. But am I getting better? Yeah, because I'm just figuring it out.
classes don't do like I took like a personal class with one person because he used to come up to Albany because he used to hang out with like this one comic, whatever. But I never took like a full class. Everyone pays like $300 for or whatever.
Yeah.
And just to do what you're gonna normally do anyway. So that's kind of one of the reasons why like I'm in this like weird depression mode because like I never did what everyone did, take a class or whatever. I just did it because no one believed in me. So I'm just like you just gotta keep on fucking going. You know what I mean?
Our first sorry.
What?
Our first guest had great advice, and this is what it was. He goes, just bring a friend to a show, sit him down and say, tell me exactly what you thought. Don't hold anything back. Because that guy who's been watching comedy his whole life, he doesn't know shit. He's going to tell you how to be like a different comedian.
Yeah.
But your friend's going to be like, oh, like I just got back from my job like at Starbucks and like I needed a break and like I actually laughed at that joke, but that joke was a little too sad for me. And that's way more valuable than like some guy with a big head.
I mean, like I'm speaking as somebody who hasn't taken a class in this.
Has or hasn't?
Has not.
Okay.
And additionally, I've been to open mics where they also gave classes, and a lot of the people that were at the mics took the classes. And after that one particular mic, I asked the host, "Hey, do you have any feedback for me?" And he's like, "I don't know. Do you want to take the class?" I'm like, "Well, everybody else here took the class and they sucked, so I'm gonna think not." But there's definitely a benefit to a class and to being led by somebody who might necessarily understand, just from experience, like somebody speaking to someone regularly who has more experience than you in comedy might and probably will be helpful.
I hear what you're
Taking
saying.
the class just gives you formula, like it gives you kind of formula, but like it doesn't like they don't
not a
say
cure.
like they don't say, well, this is how you do it and this is what you do. They just like say pretty much they say go up there and do it, and then that's pretty much it. And they can kind of give you direction, but there's no. This is how you do comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean?
of course not.
I
But
wish there
imagine
was.
if, like,
it's good
Sarah
it's good
Silverman-
to have people to give you that.
Imagine if like
so.
Sarah Silverman or Norm Macdonald took a class and they were like, Norm, you got to get to your punchlines faster. We wouldn't fucking know who he was if he got to his punchlines faster.
And the one thing that bothers me about comedy, and I've been looking at a lot of comedy specials now, is that now I hate the idea of like set up punchline tag and then like but don't talk too much, right? Now I'm looking at these stand-ups and they're talking a lot and there's not much punchline or tag, and that bothers me because I'm like, that was my whole thing, is just to get there, talk to you, here's a punchline, next thing keep on talking, right? But now it's like, you gotta do this, you gotta tag. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I just want to talk to you, give you the punchline, and go on to the next fucking point. So like, I don't know where you fit in, or just don't fit in and just do what you do. And eventually, when
What
you
does it matter? You don't have to compare. Like I do this all the time, so I'm being a hypocrite. But you don't have to compare yourself, because if you were like them, then you should quit. Like we should all quit comedy if we all are one comedian.
Yeah.
Like we all think.
Unless we're all John Mulaney, because then
No, there's only space for one, maybe two. John Mulaney.
I will take many John Mulaney.
Here's a great example. You've touched like this is like very important to me because it ties into the whole idea when we say like not just for laughs is being more open about like things people struggle with. And I think that like I'm gonna make 2 points here. I'm gonna talk for a while, and I'm sorry, but the first point is that I think people need to accept we all have different learning styles. Like I've kicked myself for years that I haven't learned certain things, and I past few months of me have been me coming to terms with the fact that I just learn differently. Like if I went to a stand-up class, I wouldn't learn anything. I would just leave every class going, I suck. But if the way I learn is by getting up and doing it and like bombing so hard and then going, all right, I may be funny, but I need to learn how to tell jokes better. And that's how I came to that realization. So I think that ties into telling someone to stop comparing themselves is a fool's errand. But I think we can all learn from like accepting who we are. And then on the other hand, talking about different styles of comedy, I think a perfect example is Michael Che and Colin Jost on Weekend Update. On Weekend Update, I think Colin is funnier because he is clipped. He says his joke. Fine. But you watch their stand-up, Colin is reading off a bullet point list. Michael, laugh out loud hilarious.
That's true.
And you can't compare the two.
No, you can't. Not at all. It's Michael Che's trajectory is something of a Murphy trajectory where like, you know, it's really rare where like 5 years into doing comedy that you're like the biggest fucking name, whatever. And
he kills like the social game. Like he has like secret shows that like blow up Twitter and like everyone's talking. Like he is so good at that. I
am like amazed by Michael Che that he hasn't lost his job yet, because he says so. It's if it's anything that's like finally a black guy has like a fucking safe pass. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because like most people they say whatever the fuck, you know, say whatever and they get canned, right? But this motherfucker says so many things that are against, like, not necessarily against women, but against like ideas that women have or ideas that other people, whether it be Black Lives Matter, whatever the fuck it is, and people shit on him on his fucking Instagram.
Really?
But,
didn't know that.
But yeah, on Instagram, like people just shit on him, and sometimes like he like takes off the comments, whatever.
Oh, he turns them off.
Yeah, he turns them off, whatever.
Damn.
But then the next week, no one cares. Like he's on SNL doing this thing. I'm just like, how do you have this pass, you know, just to do whatever, and people are still behind you? Because most times, especially now in the culture of like like I said, outrage, that everyone wants to like get you fired for some shit, that he just has the pass. And I'm like, that's how good you are. Where like if you left, I feel like if he left, the show really it wouldn't be the same.
I'm curious. I think it would be a really good exercise to try and break it down right here, right now, because I think that's something important for us all to know. Like I would say the word good is the wrong word. Like there are so many other comedians who may make me laugh harder. So what is it? Like maybe it's the fact that he never apologizes.
He never apologizes.
And he's been doing it long enough that you know he's coming from a good place. That's what I'm thinking.
People forget about good places. You know, one thing I think people forget about is that, like, you know, if you say something that's not from the norm, people don't understand that, like, that you're a good person, you come from a good place, you just have this opinion. that not everyone has because you're thinking about it objectively.
Right.
You know, when everyone's kind of thinking about it in the same fashion.
I wonder if it's also specifically here just the context of his self. He's very different as a stand-up versus on SNL. It's just he's like a completely different person. I would imagine that would really just play into it.
I think so too. He seems to be very genuine. I mean, to me it seems like he's very genuine on SNL and when he's like out in the streets doing whatever. Like I think the whole thing as a comedian is like to be the same person that you are on stage, same person that you are off stage.
Also, just to add on to that's true, I hear. But also just to add on to what I was saying, it might have worked in the opposite direction that when people see him doing stand-up, I mean, I haven't seen people shitting on him on Instagram. I haven't really looked at that or what it looks like. But I would imagine that people would come at him like mentally as, oh, this is the SNL guy versus the other way around. I think that paints things a little differently if they say something blue.
I don't think we're talking about blue. I think we're talking about
or not blue, but
points of view that people would, if someone just said it out of the blue or tweeted it, people would freak out about.
No, I understand, but even still, I'm saying that it's coming from this guy who does SNL and he does this too. I think it's
and
different.
he has like the power of SNL behind him. Maybe like it's not just one person.
Just the mental or just cultural lens of he's SNL Weekend Update and he's doing this. I see the SNL first, and then I see that, and then I'm not so necessarily happy with that.
I think people
that
know him more for SNL than they do for comedy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But this brings up a larger question of: do you think comedians since we have, or the ones who make it have a bit of a free pass? Is it our role to do that? I no, as I'm saying it, I don't think it is.
Well,
but I'll ask you.
Wait, what do you mean?
Do you think it's a comedian's role to be a truth teller?
What are you teaching Miller?
No, I'm saying there's some comedian. What do you mean?
This is TJ Miller's whole thing. He says that he's very big on saying that comedians are the new. He's very anti-religion and into philosophy, and he thinks that comedians are the truth tellers and the quote unquote prophets of now.
I mean, he's like a bad front man for that whole idea.
Oh no, he's the crazy prophet, but that's his whole thing. That this is trying to voice concerns, and especially because comedy has changed so much. You were talking before about how it was at one point set up joke punchline, and that it was. I wouldn't even necessarily say it was structured, but just what a joke was different than what it is now. Jokes are a lot more long form now. You can have long stories that lead into punchlines, and as long as the person's entertaining, it's different. That's just sort of just a change
imagine
from what we're
Rodney
used to.
Dangerfield telling a long story.
That'd be
weird.
Yeah, that'd be really weird.
I watched his stuff recently, and I was like, it was almost weird. I was like, what is this? This isn't stand up. I was like, none of this even sound like comedians nowadays. I feel try so hard to make their jokes sound really true. And Rodney's saying things one joke after another. They conflict with the facts just conflict.
There's nothing to do with each other. That was just how comedy was done. But what comedy is doing now is what the things we're joking about. The way that we're joking about them is us voicing our concerns and voicing a lot of things that a lot of people are feeling and trying to make it funny in some way. And part of what we discuss also on the show about making things funny. Often for a point to try to talk about things that are bothering us. And a lot of times somebody's more attractive because they're voicing a concern that we have ourselves, which is why a lot of people, and specifically TJ Miller, are just oh, yes, the form of comedy that is now currently developing is one where we have long form discussions about things that we care about as a society and a people.
I feel like if you put yourself in that role to be that guy, because a lot of comedians John Mulaney is just a guy who's just well, here's a joke and a punchline set up. There's no thing to it. It's just his life. But if you choose to do the type of comedy where you mention a topic and you have to explain about it, then in my opinion that you are a truth teller on this specific thing. Well,
I think that ties in because as I said it made me think. I just met one of my friends told me he just met John Mulaney, and he said he got to observe him in the wild, and he said interestingly, he's exactly how you thought he'd be. He's a little nerdy, a little he talks in long he is how he is on stage, And I think that like that really helps me because, and I'd love to hear what you think about this because I compare myself to every comedian. And I used to compare for like a year. I compared myself to Chris D'Elia. And then I'm like, and then I would watch interviews. And I'm like, Chris D'Elia is way more loud in real life than I am.
Yes,
like, it's not that he gets on stage and is loud and I'm not able to unlock that.
Yeah.
That's who he is in real life.
That's exactly who he is. Like, for me, in this many years of doing comedy, whatever, my goal is to try my best to be who I am off stage and on stage. So if you say, hey, Vernon, what do you think about this thing? I'm going to tell you the same thing I will tell someone on stage.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like after a while, once you shed like all, not necessarily fakeness, but like not knowing who you are as a comic yet or whatever. But once you get to that point where like, you know, here's my opinion and whatever, and I don't really give a fuck about what you think about it. Just, you know, then you're like, oh, okay. I
don't see like
you know,
George Carlin being all like subservient and like not talking about anything that will offend people when he's off stage. Like that's who he was in real life.
There was a time when he was like when he was completely like, you know, typical, you know, suit and tie guy on the shows and telling these jokes and these long form things to like next thing you know he's like a hippie saying fuck, and then people are like, whoa, you said this word? Like, I didn't.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. He was a typical suit and tie guy doing these, you know, these shows,
one-liners or whatever.
Yeah, you know, and it was, and not saying it wasn't bad, but like in his book that he wrote, like it just wasn't him. Yeah. And then he met Lenny Bruce and a bunch of other people, and like, and that era, that hippie era, he's like, the world and the government, it's really fucked up. And like, I talk about this, if I talk about it with you, but then on stage I'm doing like, you know, unicorn jokes, right? You know what I mean? People like, you know, you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Whereas like I in real life, and I get critiqued for this in real life, I avoid in like discussions about politics and stuff, and like I'll talk about it a few times, but that's not who I am in real life. So if I got on stage and all of a sudden I'm trying to be like Socrates, like it's just not going to work.
Are we currently just to sort of like catch up here? Are we like getting into, or is like the idea that you're trying to now express that our role should be to be truth tellers, and part of that is being as authentic?
No,
as we
my
can?
role is what I would love to hear you think, Vernon. But what I'm saying is that I'm amending what I said, and I think that we should all just be who we are in real life.
No, but I mean, like that's not necessarily speaking to like the role question.
Right. My answer is I don't think there is a role.
Okay, fine. I agree.
I think that whatever each comedian is their own entrepreneur of their own business.
Yeah. Okay. If I may amend what I was saying earlier, what I was expressing vehemently was not my personal opinion. It's just talking about that particular role. I don't think that there's any particular role. I mean, I think that there are a lot of, I guess, slots of comedian can fill as a comedian. Although I don't think anybody should necessarily put themselves be put into a slot unless they want to put themselves.
Yeah, no, you don't put yourself there on definitely unless you you know, don't want to be there. Like you should be where you want to be. You know, so if you want to just do like set up punches about how dogs have pink dicks, then just do just do those jokes. Like
shouldn't be known for that. Though. Like, he's the dog has pink dicks guy. Look at that guy.
I mean, you know, Jim Gaffigan got hot pockets, so like everyone knows him as like the food guy. You know,
he did get hot pockets. Yeah, he's going hard on that one.
Yeah.
Now, Vernon, I would love to change course a little bit because we discussed a little bit. What do you think about the current state of open mics in New York City?
To be honest with you, man, I haven't done an open mic in a very long time. I don't do open mics anymore.
Humble brag.
What?
Humble brag.
You know, I don't do open mics anymore. No more dick talk for me, guys. I think
so do you perform?
So like, pretty much like if someone books me, or like sometimes I do a late night at a New York Comedy Club or whatever, and just kind of figure shit out there. Like I guess you're not supposed to because you're supposed to bring your race stuff, but like that is where you're supposed to go to figure. Because like I can do jokes in front of an open mic crowd and get nothing. You know what I mean? Like it happened to me. Like I can do a show, do jokes, and have them go well.
At an open mic.
At a regular show.
Okay.
Then do those same jokes at an open mic to work on one word to see if it fits, and I get nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like I just like it's not even fucking.
Aziz Ansari, I heard in a podcast once. Aziz Ansari was in the comedy cellar, and he saw Eddie Murphy bomb, No, not Eddie Murphy. That wouldn't make any sense.
Chris Rock?
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, you saw Chris Rock Bob, and people were like, oh man, that sucked. And just like, that was Chris Rock.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
this was the place to do it. Like, if you're gonna see anyone bomb, this is the place to go, because when you see him again with those same jokes, it's gonna be, oh shit.
The Netflix special
Yeah,
with
I mean, yeah.
10,000 people in the audience cracking up.
I think open mics are like open mics.
They're the fucking worst.
It's a bomb. You know what I mean? Like the whole place is a bomb itself, and you might get like a couple of good things out of it. I mean, there's like when I first moved back here, I would do like maybe 4 mics a night. You know what I mean?
Wow, a night.
Yes, I would do. I mean, minus
that's 28.
Minus the weekend. So like I would say from like
that's 15 to
maybe
20
like Monday to
mics a
Thursday.
week.
Yeah, I would do that, and I saw some improvement, but like it just wasn't the improvement I was really looking
Right.
for. You know what I mean? I didn't realize like all I think I needed was to have a real opinion about things and just talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just an angry kid who just like, why do you I been on stage after waiting an hour and a half, and it's like 5 comics left, and I'm like, why are you guys here? Like I broke down.
Yeah.
On stage, because I was just so frustrated by doing it that I'm just like, what, screw this. Like that's when I went to open mic. It was maybe like last summer.
I'm so
Just
good.
to work
I'm
on
so
things.
happy you don't have to do it, because it fucking sucks.
I probably should, but I just don't, because like I don't have the need to. Like I have an idea, I'll talk it out. Like things,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
But
yeah.
I think it's also that you're performing for other, like, people say, oh, go to an open mic. If you can get them to laugh, you can get anyone to laugh. And it's like, yeah, but that's not your audience. Like, when else in your life are you going to perform for a room of comedians?
Yeah.
Never.
I have a new idea that like I kind of want to work out, and there's an open mic in Queens, QED, right? They're like, oh yeah, I can probably, and I can't do it there because the people there are so like. A great place, but like it's like it's one of those things where like I have an opinion. To me, like not everyone's opinion, so I'm like, okay, the big thing to me that everyone's talking about now, especially now since that like Gillette commercial came out, is like toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a thing, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't like buzzwords. You know what I mean?
Right.
That word came out of fucking nowhere. It came out of college. You know what I mean? I don't like that. But if you're going to talk about it, right, you need to talk about every fashion of it, right? So to me, the same things that you hate about toxic masculinity is the same things you like about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm listening.
It's like okay, I want a bad boy. Well, bad boys don't come from fucking gumdrops. You know what I mean? Like they have this thing for a fucking reason. So like, I can. If you like to get fucked really hard, right?
Yeah. Or if you want a guy to come up to you at the bar and like buy you a drink and then play with you and then be like, oh yeah, and then like kind of like ignore you for like an hour and then come back and like mess with you.
It to me like someone said that like good jokes and bad jokes come from the same thing, right? So a good dude and a bad dude come from the same fucking place. So like me having like the rage to like fuck you like you want to be fucked comes from the same place. Yeah. As me being like a genuine fucking dude.
But this is what gets me so mad is that like this is a really great point, and it's a point I've had myself, but I haven't been able to put it into words, and you just put it into words better than I ever could. And I think that gets me so frustrated that point at a mic can't be said because it says a buzzword that we've decided you can't say.
You can't talk about things. I mean, I have no idea how to make it funny yet, but like, but the idea is like, well, people are going crazy over this one thing. Why are they going crazy over it? Can you break it down?
Yeah. And
like I said earlier, context. You have to look at things in its context. You can't just be angry about it because you see it and it bugs you out.
Right.
Trigger warnings are fucking stupid, or triggering is fucking stupid. You have to see what it is and break it down for what it is. Yeah. And then talk about it on both sides, because life is both sides. Life is good and life is bad, and sometimes life is both. And you have to figure out, and to me, you have to figure out the good and bad parts of whatever that you don't like is, right? And figure it out and make a good judgment for yourself to how to be better or fix it.
Right. And that's the problem with having an across the board edit on a certain topic is you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Like that point can't come across because people are like, if you say the word toxic masculinity, I'm out.
Yeah, and like it's oh god, I can't agree with this. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if you sit down and listen to it, you can probably agree with it. You know what I mean? Like maybe not the whole thing, but if you can find one sliver of like thing is something inside of you, like, oh, okay, I guess that's a good point. You know what I mean?
And you're not saying.
I'm not saying
And
it's
wait, this was so funny. You're not saying that those actions that people are referring to when they say the word toxic masculinity aren't annoying or whatever words you want, whatever you're saying it causes. You're not saying that's not accurate. You're just saying that like let's pull back a little and take this and you're just calling people out on their hypocrisy.
Yeah, like, you got to realize that like to me everything comes from the same place. Like I mean like what you don't like if you say like I like a person to be a protector, well that protector has fought other people, you know what I mean, other men or has that in his brain or whatever. That comes from the same fucking place. Like I know,
oh my god, I know so many people who, well, I don't want to say so many, but I know people who, you know, women who are like, oh yeah, like I don't want any guy to like have any like I can be a woman, I can do anything, and my husband can do anything, and then the way they treat their husband is like so in a box, like they're the one who has to like the things they expect them to do are so in a box, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, you are what?
And no, what that's because like your idea or an ideas of what a man is doesn't come from that man. It comes from how you were raised with the man that was in your life. But that man that was in your life when you were a kid, you don't know shit about his whole life because once you were born, if you're in a decent family, he's been a good fucking dude the whole fucking time. You know what I mean?
My mind is fucking blown.
Right now I have this joke about like, you know, relationships and like things that bother me. Like I said, women are great in relationships or whatever because their love is genuine. Their love comes first before anything, right? And if a girl looks at you, like, you know, when you have a girlfriend or whatever, and she like looks at you quietly, you know, and she's thinking like, I'm glad that I made a good decision, right? Yeah. Now, if a guy, you look at your girl the same way, like, I hope she doesn't ask me any fucking questions. You know what I mean? Because as a dude, it's like I never thought I hate questions, but if you have a decent person in your life that's a male that like has a lady that if you ask him a question, he will gladly answer that for you because he wants to give you answers. Like he wants to give you a thing. But as the dude, if a little girl's like, hey dad, I want you to stay here, and he's like, well, I can't, I gotta go to work or whatever, I gotta do this, because she's like, all right, I get you. A kid, you know, a little male boy, he's like, dad, stay here, I want you to come. He's like, son, please shut the fuck up. Like I don't want to be bothered like, with man you. Up, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where just like that's that thing that like you want to race it, but you don't have the guy's an asshole at the beginning.
It's almost as if we want, and I agree with this part. We want to allow, like, society for so many years only allowed binaries of everything. Like you were either happy or sad, gay or straight, like, and we're finally saying there's gradients in between. But by doing that, we're cutting out the fact that people can exist on opposite ends. Like by saying that a man doesn't only have to act as a man, a woman doesn't only have to act as a stereotypical woman, we're now basically saying if you want to be a stereotypical man or woman, you can't do that.
And it's fucked up. You can do it. We're definitely fighting against things that are shitty from like our parents' time, their parents' time, because like they didn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like that now everything comes so fast at us that like we're learning at a faster rate than everyone else did. You know what I mean? Like everything was slow in the 70s and
like
60s.
This whole, we're totally relearning how to like date. How to, in the olden days it was like you got married right away and then you pretended that you weren't cheating on your spouse when you were. Nowadays it's a completely different system.
People were getting married at fucking 14. Yeah, that doesn't. You can be 17 and date a 14-year-old, and if you guys fuck and she gets pregnant, you're married. You know what I mean? And that's your whole life. And their grandma's like, well, he was a great guy. And I'm like, yeah, you were. Now we're like, well, now we're like, how can you do this to a 14-year-old? Back then it was like, I guess you got it. You know what I mean? Like that's just his how it is. We're learning at a different rate now, but no one's like, everyone's so accusatory that they don't realize that we're just different now. Yeah. And we have to learn how to be different. Like, dude, 90, you know, when I was in high school, there were guys that were my age now hanging out trying to fuck 16-year-olds or were fucking 16-year-olds outside of school. Really? Now that I'm not sure if it happens that much now. Yeah. But that was how it was
Well,
before.
what do you think about, because what you're saying is something I've thought about when it comes to, or something I read about when it comes to like 80-year-old or 90-year-old men who like will say something, they'll get caught on tape. And you're like, and some people will say like, you can't hold someone who's 90 to the same like they are a product of how they were raised. They're 90 years old, and then they say one thing that's like, okay, it's a little, yeah, you shouldn't have said that. But then I just think that's an interesting point. And I think this conversation is so important, because I think in so many other places this conversation would have been cut off because it's like, oh, you're talking about things that don't follow the rules. And it's like, no, these are the conversations that need to be had. We have a minute and a half to go, but I would love to hear your response.
This is what I say, right? I'm born in mid 80s, raised in the 90s, right? I said, I believe that everyone lives, once you're past a certain 30, 35, 40, everyone lives the rest of their life in their time that they were born, right? Yeah. So like, I'm from the 90s, like I get the whole like the fashion, whatever. Kids who were born in your year had five years to be whatever. You didn't live that life. So now it's not that kids are dressing like they're from like 93. That pisses me off because you don't understand that time. Everyone mind frame lives in their time that they lived. Yeah. Because back in the day it was like, oh, that's gay, right? Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that was
when I was in high school. That was the go-to. Even me, that was the go-to.
That was the thing. Now people are like, well, you can't say that now. Right. But and when I'm with my friends, or whatever, we still live in that time and we understand the context. And I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say now. I know not to say it for everyone else. Right. But like, I still live in the context.
And I think that asking people to, it's not even that. I don't even want to add anything else. I just want to say just acknowledging that's a fact is so important, because then we can think critically about things and not just write off. All right, this has been Not Just for Laughs. What a fascinating conversation. Thank you for listening. Once again, Ellie, Max, and Vernon, and have a wonderful week. Tune in next week, 6 p.m. Stay tuned for the next show, and keep smiling.